Je remercie son...
I thank Her Excellency Maria Tripodi for her statement. We've now heard from the co-chairs scheduled to speak under Roundtable 2. It's now my honour to invite our guest speaker for Roundtable 2, His Excellency Juan Manuel Santos Calderon, former President of Colombia, 2016 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and Chair of the Elders, to deliver the keynote address on delivering peace, political resolution, shared security, and economic prosperity.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to address this conference today in my capacity as Chair of the Elders, and would like to thank the conference co-chairs for the opportunity to speak to this distinguished audience. Recognition of the State of Palestine can be a transformative step towards peace at a time when the region is consumed by terrible war. I encourage the remaining UN member states who have not already done so to take this step now. I commend President Macron for announcing that France will recognize Palestine. I urge the United Kingdom, a country for which I have a special gratitude for its support of the Colombian peace agreement and as penholder in the Security Council, to join France in leading the way. I took this decision in 2018 as President of Colombia. I did so not to favor one side over the other, but to help create a level playing field, convinced then, as I am now, that it is for the best in the long run, also for the Jewish people, for whom I have always expressed admiration and respect. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for the current Israeli government. As I said at the time, just like the Palestinian people have a right to build an independent state, the people of Israel have a right to live in peace next to their neighbors. Now, it is more important than ever to achieve this, following the horrific Hamas terror attacks against Israeli civilians on 7th of October 2023, and the current government of Israel's atrocity crimes against Palestinians in Gaza that we are all witnessing today. In words and deeds, Prime Minister Netanyahu's government openly expresses its intent to prevent a Palestinian state ever coming into existence. It is pursuing a greater Israel through the destruction of Gaza, an illegal settlement expansion, and annexation of the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. At this crucial moment, recognition of the State of Palestine by even more countries would send a clear signal to the Israeli people that this expansionist agenda will never be accepted by the international community, and it does not serve their true interest. I urge member states to stand with the many, many Israelis who reject this dangerous path and who understand that their own security depends on the security and self-determination of Palestinians. Some will always make the argument that the time is not yet right. At this critical juncture, the case for recognition has never been more pressing. The time is now. Recognizing Palestine along pre-1967 lines can be a catalytic act towards the vision of two states with a shared future, if there is sustained political commitment to follow through on its implementation. This is about the core principles of justice and self-determination. Recognition should not be linked to negotiations between the conflict parties. Israel does not have the right to veto Palestinian self-determination or statehood. Nor should recognition be linked to governance reform or the form that a sovereign unified Palestinian state will take. These are separate issues from statehood itself. The question of when and how Hamas should disarm or be disarmed is, with no doubt, critical. I know from my own experience of ending a more than 50-year-old war in Colombia how delicate but essential such a process can be. The disarmament of Hamas will need to be addressed as part of a process towards a lasting political settlement that ends the occupation and ensures security for both people. For Hamas to have any political future, it must be willing to reconcile under the umbrella of a revitalized Palestinian Liberation Organization based on fundamental commitments, including recognition of Israel along pre-1967 lines and an end to attacks against civilians. Like any other state, the state of Palestine must have full control of its own borders, territory, and security arrangements. A two-state solution will not be viable or sustainable if Palestinians are offered a reduced form of statehood that falls short of full sovereignty. For too long, the security of the occupying power, Israel, has been prioritized over the security of Palestinians. This is obvious from the continuous flow of arms to Israel, while the civilian population of Gaza suffers endless bombardments and a siege that has led to an imminent man-made famine. Distinguished co-chairs and distinguished delegates, I know from my country's own experience of conflict with the FARC and other armed groups that it can seem easier to wage war than to make peace. But such intractable conflicts can never be resolved by military means alone. Today, I urge you all to take a firmer stand against military aggression in Gaza and the West Bank, but also in the wider region. The situation remains extremely fragile following the military strikes against Iran by Israel and the USA, which deliberately derailed progress towards a political solution to the Iran nuclear threat and led to a dangerous escalation. It is vital to preserve space for political dialogues on this issue. European governments should negotiate a delay to the UN sanctions snapback deadline, and Iran should restore the International Atomic Energy Agency access. Any UN Security Council resolution underpinning a new agreement must also provide guarantees to Iran against further strikes. The government of Israel's military action in Syria since the fall of Assad also undermines regional stability. This is not legitimate self-defense. The use of force to assert Israel's domination in the region risks leading to a dangerous endgame. This is relevant to our discussions today because it directly undermines prospects for a two-state solution. We need a new vision for regional peace and security, one that is based on political, not military solutions, and respect for each state's sovereignty. A comprehensive regional framework must be inclusive of Iran as well as the Arab states. It must have a lasting settlement that safeguards a fully sovereign state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel at its heart. Only a framework in which all states in the region have an equal stake can provide lasting peace. Like others, the elders want to see a regional security context in which Israel has normalized relations with its neighbors and is recognized by all countries in the world. However, normalization through the pursuit of more Abraham Accords without self-determination for Palestinians will only sow the seeds of future conflict, ultimately undermining Israel's own security. Full normalization must be conditional on Israel's ending the occupation with recognition and realization of a sovereign Palestinian state along the pre-1967 lines. To make progress towards such a vision, it is likely that a regional or international presence will be required to support a ceasefire in Gaza and the transitional governance and security arrangements that will follow. Any such regional and international presence should be based on the consent of the Palestinian Authority and endorsed by the UN. It should be established in both Gaza and the West Bank to ensure that it paves the way for a unified, sovereign Palestinian state. Recognition of the state of Palestine by member states can be transformative if it is accompanied by practical measures to make statehood a reality. This includes support for Palestinian economic sovereignty and prosperity, ending the movement and access restrictions that constrain economic development, and opening up the potential for cooperative arrangements between Israel and the future state of Palestine to address shared challenges such as public health, water resources, and the climate crisis. Excellencies, I would like to conclude by recalling Nelson Mandela's words nearly 30 years ago when I went to give him the chair of the 9th UNCTAD conference, when he told me that without peace, Colombia will never take off. His words inspired me to commit to delivering peace in my country and in the world, and still inspire me today. That is the reason I am here. This conference offers a tangible opportunity to catalyze progress towards political resolution by recognizing Palestine and developing a new vision for shared security and sustainable economic prosperity for Palestinians, Israelis, and the wider region. I urge you all to seize this moment. Thank you.
Je remercie son...
I thank His Excellency Juan Manuel Santos Calderon.
Merci.
I now announce Roundtable 3, entitled From Rubble to Renewal.